Viswa, and today I'm here to talk about the factors and barriers that affect economic growth of a country of a nation. There are many factors that affect the economic growth of a nation. First thing that comes to my mind is we'll be talking and discussing about that during and after the speech. So pay close attention as the first factor that comes to my mind is inflation. So what is inflation? Inflation is the steady rise in the general price level of the commodities and goods that result in the decline of the purchasing power of the country. So many neoclassical economists and classical economists and modern economists as well have actually, and economic historians have actually said that inflation is a good thing in the sense that it is, when it is controlled and predicted correctly, it can be a good thing for the economy and economic growth. But for example, in cases like Venezuela, the country, what's happening there is called a stage of inflation called hyperinflation. In hyperinflation, the government body actually prints more money than needed to compensate for its expenditures, so which results in the decrease in the value of the currency entirely. In Venezuela, they're actually making paperwork and art crafts out of their currency, which is the bolivar, right? And this has been going on for 20 years there. But it has actually reached this extreme of a stage in the past half a decade or so. So what we can gather from inflation is that it is actually also directly connected with the political barriers. Political barriers is nothing but basically corruption. Corruption actually hinders the growth of the economy, and it reduces productivity, it reduces motivation of the people, it increases the dissatisfaction that people have with the government, so they choose not to involve themselves in economic activities. So we can ascertain from this that political barriers and inflation are actually goes hand in hand. And the next topic, the next barrier that affects the economy is overpopulation. I think that there is no better example of this than India. As you all know, India is the most populated country in the world. So in case of India, overpopulation isn't exactly a bad thing, but at the same time, when India has 35% of unproductive consumers. What are unproductive consumers are? They are basically consumers who are under the age of 18. They don't contribute to the economy, but still consume the goods. So they can only contribute and engage in economic activities after they reach the age of 18. They are not obligated to actually contribute to the economy, but they still consume, so they are called as unproductive consumers. Even people after the age of 60 are called unproductive consumers because they retire and they don't have jobs. While many underage people actually work part-time jobs, it is actually not beneficial to the economy as they don't pay tax money. So this as well hinders the growth of the economy and contributes to the setback of the economy, you can say. Right. So overpopulation is also directly connected with poverty. As you all know, India is not a rich country by any means. Our poverty percentage was 14% last year. So that is, while that may be a steady decrease from the 2015's decrease, 2015's percentage of 25%, I still think that when you go out, statistic is nothing but a number. A statistic, what a statistic is, it basically shows you a number. But when you go out and feel the things, like when the result is tangible, when you go out and don't see homeless people and impoverished people, then you can say that the statistic is valid. Until then, I believe that a statistic is only a number that you can compare it with. So, we can conclude from this that the overpopulation and poverty are directly connected and reduce the economic growth of country. As even the per capita income reduces, the cost of living increases, and then the quality of life decreases as population increases. So there are many examples as to why overpopulation is a bad thing. So what we need is, I think that we need to promote adoption more. I think we need to have more education as to lift people out of impoverished areas. These are the means that we can take to ensure the steady economic growth as well in the long run. The next point being infrastructure, right? In infrastructure, it is also directly connected with the political barrier. Does not have a widespread infrastructure. We made due for now, but in 2020, in 2035, we don't have the necessary pace of progress in order to keep up with the rest of the world. Right? India is like the fourth largest economy. Right? It's often referred to as the youngest country, but by no means we are developed in terms of infrastructure. A fine example of this I would say is red tapeism. You may have read this in your commerce 11th and 12th. You have actually read this in your commerce. Red tapeism is the concept of delay a government body that delays the work or the projects that it actually takes upon. So it takes a long time to actually complete the work, which leads to the slow growth of the economy. It basically prevents and kills the economy. And why did I say that this is related with political barriers is because the political parties are basically the cause of red tapeism. For example, a fine example I would take is there was a bridge that is being built in Madurai from Madurai to Port. The bridge was actually planned in 2008 when another party of Tamil Nadu was in rule. They actually planned it, but then in 2012 what happened was a political party shift happened. The political powers actually shifted. So another party came to victory and then they stopped the construction when the construction was actually 30% complete. So this is a fine example of red tapeism, and the thing is, only until last year, the project actually, they took the tender again, and then they revisited the cost. Our finance minister, actually revisited the cost, and then the construction is only now under planning and then development, and then it's only getting completed by 2025. So the gap between 2008 and 2025 results in unsatisfied citizens who actually don't feel motivated enough to go to work, commute to different places, and this restricts operations as well. This results in many businesses, private and public sectors both, and severely affects the economic growth of the country as the people aren't happy enough. So they don't contribute capital, they don't contribute enough efforts to actually participate in economic activities. So another point is that's why I said that infrastructure and red tapeism actually goes hand in hand, and political barriers are involved in the infrastructure and how politics influences many factors in the world, in the countries, right? So another point being land fragmentation. Land fragmentation is a very important point. What is land fragmentation? It's basically basically when a person owns just one small bit of land, when a farmer owns a very small bit of land, he requires more management, more manpower, and more manual labor to contribute to the growth of the economy. India is an agrarian economy, and that means that we are like almost 55% of our economy is actually reliant on agriculture. So what happens when only many people own small bits of land is productivity decreases. They don't produce enough goods. They don't supply enough goods, and the profit they make is sufficient to for their own goods. A farmer makes goods he produces goods in his farm, and then it's only good enough to serve his own interest and his own family. He can't sell the goods, so commodities decreases. Goods don't arrive on time, and transportation is a very important thing in farming. The amount that the finance that he provides for transportation, the farmer provides for transportation is already enough, and he doesn't make any profit. So that is why there are farmer issues everywhere in India. But in states like Punjab and southern states, it's, land fragmentation is a thing. But especially in Bihar, it is a very major thing, which severely affects the growth of the economy. As Bihar, it's a fast-growing economy now, but only mainly due to industrial reasons. Bihar's agriculture state is very bad. So these are the various factors that affect the growth of the economy, I believe. And yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for the speech, and thank you so much to Venkataraman sir for providing me this opportunity to speak.